Of what year?
October 31st, 2020.
What? Oh, Lord. Okay.
What is that?
What it is?
Per the extension, the contract for commercial, the extension for commercial ends on October 31st, 2020.
Oh,
Can
God.
can I speak?
Yes, ma'am, please.
I thought we only had a 1 year extension. While
No,
we
it was
were-
the original extension. That's for commercial, not residential.
What
For
is a
residential.
residential extension?
When did we extend that?
The
that
residential extension ends on October, I'm sorry, the residential extension ends on January 31st, 2019.
Yeah.
Per the, per the, per the extension, we were to award the contract 60 days before that extension ends.
Which is
So
coming up,
if we
yeah.
don't award the, if we throw this out and decide to move on, we have another 120 days built into the contract, so we would have to award it by May 2019 to still be within this. If we don't do all that by, if we can't do it by May 2019, then you need another extension.
Yeah, we have enough time.
That, oh, okay,
Yeah,
because,
that's 10 months. That's
Yeah.
10 months.
I get to speak.
yes,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Number one, I'm looking, this is the first time I saw these letters, so little weird that they said that we didn't answer, but that's up to you. The other large company that did not bid, did not want to bid because of having to give prices a year and 2 years out.
Which
That,
makes
that
sense.
was, I mean, but we don't have a choice over that. We have the early 2019 and we have the commercial. Before we make any decision, I would like to see the, bringing it in-house. You and I, we spoke about that this week.
Okay.
It seems very expensive and you
And
also.
that's, and that's
well,
the thing
one-
that they have, so
One
it
is a
doesn't really
huge
matter.
expense to get equipment, which we knew, which I got up there. Look, excuse me, I don't want their old equipment. That's one of the problems, is they come down and they have all the, I don't think there's a lot of equipment. I think in the contract, they're gonna go out and get new equipment. But I don't wanna buy used, broken down, leaky equipment. I mean, I don't have an inventory of exactly the shape, but I don't know that that's necessarily the answer. But you're looking at a $20 million purchase, and also from what I understand, a large in-house expense.
I'm pretty sure that's how they put it.
And
Actu-
we, and like you say, it's great. I have a lot of constituents that want the best service and don't care what they pay for it. But there's also a lot of residents that can't afford to pay for it.
Yeah, but
You
they
got-
deserve the best, it's our job.
Okay, but they have to pay for it and they can't afford to and they don't want to.
In-house, it's all people they hire.
I don't-
That we could make that argument.
We're not gonna say, we are not gonna save money bringing it in-house. But we did ask, and I'm still waiting before I make a decision to see what those numbers are. I think staff is doing a good job negotiating so far. I think we're getting a lot of,
So we'll get the presentation.
but I think we
for
can
in-house.
still negotiate further. I think
Well-
they're doing a good job.
This, and again, it seems like the tenor is to defer this item for right now. That's
Wait,
what
I
I'm
have
picking up.
two more questions. With regard to the commercial, because I didn't really get all that about the commercial versus the residential. But do we have, and we know what the terms are on our existing commercial rates and what they're going to be if we extend the contract, we renew this contract, do we know what the commercial rates are gonna be?
The commercial rates is based on the market. So they're charging those business owners. Where the city gets a benefit directly is we get a franchise
Oh, we got
fee.
25%. Is it
No, what's the
15?
number?
12, I think
What's the-
what I saw last time was 12%.
20?
20.
Okay.
20%.
So we get a piece of that, but is there some way, and then in the meantime, we can compare whether I hated the fact that we said they got an exclusive right after a year to have all the commercial in our city. And there were pros and cons. But now that the new contract that you're negotiating is still gonna have an exclusive commercial.
That is correct.
Until 2020?
It's, so
No.
can we
They
determine
already have
what,
it.
They already
what
have
that
it.
commercial rate is
2020.
and how it
No,
compares
continue 'cause
to
you going
the
after
other,
2020.
commercial carriers?
I mean, we can do
I mean,
that. now.
to see, Okay, so they have the exclusive, but if they're competitive, then it's okay. I would
I
think.
wanna ask a question
And
when
also,
she's done.
I didn't see anything about termination in this package. Is that in there, or?
Termination.
I couldn't, I mean, it was just too big, I didn't find the termination clause. So, we have the right to terminate if, okay. So, again, I'd still like to see what it's gonna cost in-house. I don't think it's going to be feasible for us.
Yeah, it's already determined it's not, so what's the point? Mr.
I'm
Mayor,
waiting
I
to
don't
see
even
the
thi-
numbers.
I really don't think we need to do it, because they already know, and they pushing for whatever reason, and I kinda agree with Councilman Galvin, for whatever reason, they are pushing for whatever that staff is doing, because they already told you that it's not, it's big. Why don't we do this? Why don't you tell Waste Pro, in order for us to keep the commercial, buy the truck for us, and we'll bring it in-house? And that I will support. So they were, if she said she doesn't want the used truck.
Every 5 years.
Listen, that's our cost. We're not talking about that. If we need how many trucks that do they have? It's 2 or 3, right? To go around the city. The trucks are 250. The trucks, from my understanding, they're like 250. We just spent like 900 and something. So the trucks are 250. So they could buy us the 3 trucks, and the trade is we could.
250?
I believe that's 300 or 400. How much is one truck?
The trucks, based on the
Yeah.
analysis we did, about 317,000.
Okay, three something. So how many trucks do they have
Councilman,
currently? Sir, hold on. How many trucks do we have currently? Which pay? Well, if we don't have it, Michael, he has it. That doesn't make any sense.
Because they did the work that you wanted. They did the in-house.
But Mike, if they
But we
did
don't
it for
have
me
it.
and then they have it,
and
we don't
that's too
have
much
it.
to ask us to start looking at
Which
11
should
o'clock
have been
at night.
presented
presented
before
with it.
this meeting.
You
before
see this
here.
folder we had to spend the weekend looking at? This, and then this is all Waste Pro stuff. So what they could have done if administration was behind this, they would have put whatever that they have in. We had 3 folders. Literally, we spent the whole weekend, well, I did, looking at this. So if they had something, Mike, that they wanted us to see, they would have put it. So obviously they didn't. So I'm not there with this game and all this BS. No, that's fine. It's, but I ain't voting for nobody anyhow, so it doesn't really
They
matter.
have
At
the
this point.
study.
I know, but why they didn't give, you have it?
Why you did-
But, so where is it?
give- why not
So
just
why
give
they
us a
have it?
copy?
Okay. All right, if, at this time, guys, I think we should open it to, because we discussed it, so we have to open it to public hearing, right?
Yep.
Public hearing is now open on the item?
Yes, no.
Everybody come for your 2 minutes, the time is free, you don't have to pay.
Okay. Please indulge the few people that are here. Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. Mr. Mayor, you earlier said the definition of insanity is turning around and doing the same thing over again. You guys want to give a 7-year contract for $25 million with 1-year options on top of that for the next 10 years? We got screwed getting it to 5 years. Then, because the management messed up, you had to give them and miss doing it. You know what I'm talking about. And then you gave them another extension.
Yep.
And now you want to sign them up now for another 7 years? None of you will be up there. You're going to tie the hands of the next councils and the council and the council after that? $25 million? You've got to be kidding. And I'll tell you the answer to this whole thing. If the waste haulers do not have commercial with the residential, nobody is going to apply. The city did it when we did it in-house, we kept the residential low and we kept the commercial pickup high. That's how you did it, because the residential people voted, the commercial people didn't. And it was the game that was played for 40 years while we had our own in-house. But because they're going to throw out $10,000 for some swale and buy you a new truck and a $2,500 scholarships, if I had a $25 million contract, I'll give you $1 million and a bunch of nonsense stuff. They're very good at campaign contributions. Look at the records, very good in all the communities. Okay? But this is absolutely nonsense. I have to say, I've never seen the staff do such a great presentation with details for one vendor. For one vendor, justifying one vendor. Don't, and Mr. Mayor, I don't know what you all are reading, but this resolution says you all are approving the recommendation and approving the manager negotiating and executing a contract tonight when he gets done with this. That's what your resolution you were voting on. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. You were voting on a 7-year contract tonight at $25 million.
All right, thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, thank you so much. And I know, Jim, you would not mind me borrowing 1 minute of your time. What he said, and I'm opposed, this administration just gave me for the presentation of in-house a couple of pages. No, Michael, don't shake your head because you didn't go through it. You'll be of BS. And then they just did a presentation where, why didn't procurement people did a whole damn presentation to us? So that's how Councilwoman Keys and myself got the impression, and everybody else, it doesn't really mean anything. But look at this. So pass
Sir,
it down. This is the presentation.
procurement-
Yes, sir.
No, we're gonna have it formally. I mean,
Ain't nothing to have. This is it.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna say this.
Yes, sir.
Procurement, you asked us to do the analysis.
I know, but I asked
And wait, hold on, and I wanna say this to you. It's very important. I pressed down on the deputy and the budget director, and me personally, we went deep through these numbers to make sure we did a realistic analysis. Now, whether we buy trucks as a transition matter from Waste Pro and all that stuff, we can talk about that. But we did the presentation, we did the analysis, and we also, the point you just made, we spent about 4 hours discussing how the commercial fee impacts this equation, if you will. So I don't want you to not think we didn't do our job. We did the work. We did the work. Procurement, we have an item before you that was directed by this council for us to do. We did the procurement and we're presenting it to you. It doesn't say you have to approve it. It doesn't say you have to approve it tonight. It doesn't say you have to approve it at all. But we have the obligation to present what happened, right? And get your direction. You could tell me, you know what, I don't want to discuss it tonight. Let's move it to the next meeting. Let's do some more thorough analysis, whatever.
okay,
Whatever that is. But I
All
just
right.
want to make sure you know we did what we're supposed to do.
all righty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bay Shore Drive. Scott, you're right. The buck stops here. I'm quoting Harry Truman. We need to bring this back in-house. This contract is flawed. We need to look at 1-year extension, try to time it with the commercial, and bring it back in-house. And we need to look at leasing the garbage trucks, new trucks, and lease them. We need to look at alternative financing to this, where it reduces our liability. We need to look we need to think outside the box and how to solve this problem. We have never done a contract for more than 5 years in this city. We're tying up whoever sits up there, and by that time I might be dead, and my mom might be too. But we're looking at a 10-year contract. I will recommend to the council tonight to not approve this, and to reconsider and look at our options. Thank you.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street, Sunkist Grove. I want to say that I like the component of community benefits, but I would like to see it tied to a youth work jobs program for young people aged 13 through 21 for summer employment. Also employment for young adults, not possibly, but definitely. This fund's coming from the residuals for the recycle program. And I would like to see that this money, $1 million, be set aside for this purpose, for youth employment during the summer with this money. Thank you.
Okay, I see no one coming to the microphone, so I'm assuming public hearing is now closed.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. I have a question. Can we ask wasteful questions? Oh,
No, you don't.
that's
want
not,
why-
no, I just want
why
one
you
quick
wanna-
question.
Why you wanna go there?
No, just one quick. It's nothing major. One quick question I just want to ask them. I know probably Kenneth and I, we had this discussion. I don't know if it, with Mr. Markey. How you doing, sir? One quick question. How, and you could stay from where you are just to answer. They
he
could
has
come
to
to the
come to
mic.
the mic.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he has to identify himself and give his address.
Okay.
and-
Russell Mackey, 17302 Pines Boulevard, Pembroke Pines, Regional Vice President, Waste Pro, Florida.
Jesus.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. One quick question for you. How many trucks, garbage trucks, do you guys have that's dedicated to our city? That means that I know we work 5 days, not the including the recycling. So how many trucks total that we have? Because I want to just, that's all.
Just for residential or?
Yes,
for
just the
every-
residential.
15.
15 trucks. And where are those trucks? Because that's the problem when I heard that answer, because that doesn't add up. And then, okay, thank you, sir.
I really would like the opportunity to address a couple of the comments that were made tonight, now that I'm up here. I mean, I was happy not to.
Okay, please not to.
What?
The-
No?
No, because I'm okay with, I just had because, no, well, I don't even think it's that, because, but after you're done, whatever you want to do, Mr. Mayor. I
You
got
only
my
had one
answer.
question? That's it?
One question, and I have my doubts, but one
But
question.
there's solid waste recycling, and you got to take the bulk collection into consideration. There's 6, 7 trucks that work on bulk every single day, in addition to the 6.
Every day?
Yes.
What do you mean every day?
Every day of the week, we collect bulk in the city.
No, I
But
understand. I
you know,
understand the
there's
zone that they have.
there's a ton of misinformation here that, okay.
It's fine. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move that we continue this item until such time that staff sees fit to bring it back to us.
This,
I have a motion made by Councilman
Can
Galvin.
we- I mean, if we move this item, we keep prolonging this and prolonging it and prolonging it. I mean, until when are we gonna have an ultimate? Are we gonna prolong it? I mean, continue it, contingent upon making a formal presentation of in-house possibilities and I would rather we vote tonight. I'm ready to vote tonight if anybody.
From my standpoint as the maker of the motion to continue, I think it would only be fair that staff make a presentation about in-house, that we have some discussion, that it's, right, that the cost of the revenue that's generated by commercial versus residential, that we talk about really what it's gonna cost, that the taxpayers, that we're not talking about this 11:30 at night, that the taxpayers realize that if we bring it back in-house, your bill is going to become your bill. And if they're still fist pumping and cheering, then we won't have any hard decisions to make in the budget, because we'll know we're tripling everybody's rates. So, you know, but if they don't want that, then we have to make some decisions. You know, like
Yeah,
there's a-
I welcome a presentation for in-house, of course. That would be done, pending we opening it for another bid.
There's also no reason you
If we vote
cannot be
i-
negotiating more on this contract. I mean, nobody's saying not to continue, you already have been.
There is what you call the fruits of a poison tree. I consider this whole thing to be the fruits of a poison tree. If a tree is poisoned, it cannot produce good fruits.
because
This is the fruit of a poison tree. I don't like this at all. I don't like the way this was worked up. I don't like the way it was presented. I don't like the way it was done, period. This is the product of a poison tree.
And-
The tree is poisoned. The roots, the branches, the leaves, everything.
And Mr. Manager, I must add, with when they talk about the capital requirement to move it in-house, I think that just
If we
looking at
reopen
the
it, we may even
analysis.
get a company that is open to give us
That's what and
a better bid in the future if we reopen it.
I didn't,
the mayor said he was going to propose that we open it. But did you say if we open it right now, we still gonna have the same issue because the commercial
stuck.
is tied to October 2020 because of that?
yeah.
You
So
can't-
wait or don't
That
wait.
means the only portion we can put out for
So the only
everybody
thing is my
is
suggestion.
residential only.
Bring it in and have them.
No. We put in the RFP has commercial and residential.
You a budget number.
I'll
Add these
withdraw
up
my
for me.
motion to continue
Add
and
these
look
up
to
for
the mayor for his motion for
Yes.
where we go next.
Okay. And Mr. Mayor, I would support that. I asked the deputy manager, because the cost is a problem here, since he's a budget person, and Larry too, add the equipment thing in. I would welcome if waste, because I don't have a problem with them with commercial. I've never received one call from no commercial. So if keeping it commercial, they're making some money, we get percentage back, and they want to buy us a couple of trucks, and the residents will be happy, and then we work on our thing. I think we putting the fact that our residents being
You say
happy.
You haven't had any complaints from commercials? I'm a commercial
Well,
customer.
file your complaint, Mr. Mayor.
A
Go
lot
ahead.
of times, my garbage are not picked up on
Oh,
Saturdays.
Jesus.
They're supposed to be picked up every single Saturday, and I still have to pay the same fee.
Oh, yeah.
My fee is paid on a what do you call it? When you do it from computer from your account, I got a recurring automatic payment.
Oh, geez.
When they don't pick up, I don't prorate it. I don't prorate my
And-
payment.
Because we got that.
I got two. I got two.
Two.
I have two buildings in North Miami,
Jesus.
and
And Mr. Mayor, the same thing you said, we have residents. I think Mr. Farmer was one of them, Mr. Spring, that I had referred you, Jonathan Farmer, who's, totally opposed with the company, but I work with them. I told them it's getting better. And his question every time he called me is, Councilman, they did not pick up my trash. Why am I paying the city the same thing? So I told him, I said, Mr. Farmer, you hang in there. There's different ways. But if it was us, I would have said, what are you complaining? And we'll pick it up. Because the problem is that we never had that problem that we had, or we have with when we have it. I mean, we have issues with some of our departments, but it's ours. So we could call you, Mr. Manager, and bug you at 12 o'clock and say, they got to go pick up Miss, Kevin Burns or Miss Alston trash because it's in front of them. But for them, we got to wait. If I always get Mr. Kenneth, he's always been great, that I must say. But it's at their peril. And now us hearing tonight, they're going to get something if the complaint, I must have received at least 100 complaints, and I didn't file it through the computer because my people don't even know how to use the computer or have a computer. So how much is it, Mr.
The initial capital outlay for just the vehicles will be to the tune of about $6 million.
So if they're willing to give us $6 million to help us buy the thing, I'm willing to support them with the commercial, and that's the end of the story, and you could work with the staff. So we just,
So
that's
do you-
my thing.
Councilman, do you want to continue this item, or do you want to cancel this and rebid? That's what we've got to decide. on.
Whatever
We're
you guys want,
continuing this?
I'm with it.
What's
You already know my preference is for us to tell them, give us $6 million to buy our own trucks, where you work on a plan, and they could have it until 20, whatever, but we will be on a plan to bring it in-house, so we don't have the cost of the equipment, Councilwoman Keys. So all you gotta work out is and you could say next year or the year after, however you feel that we could do this, that's not gonna hurt our budget. Because if they agree that they'll help us out, because all the thing that they added, all these community, the scholarship, this and this and this and that.
What? Then they be stop making money. They don't want to help you.
No, they did. They said they will give us some scholarship, right?
They're
They're not giving you $6 million.
They're not a
They're
non-profit.
not going to give you $6 million.
No, I'm not asking them to give me $6 million.
They're not.
No, we're not asking for $6
It's
million.
either you want to burn it in house, you do the sacrifice.
No, but Councilman, it's a business. I don't know the business.
But you
If
said to help you. It's a
Councilman,
profit.
listen to what I'm saying. Can you please listen,
go ahead.
Councilman? What I said was, they have the commercial, and it's right now it's a monopoly. these council members, my colleagues, are talking about different direction. I'm saying the compromise. This is a business. They'll have it for whatever amount of years. I don't know how much they'll be making. So we're not asking them for nothing. We will say we will, if they help us, because they were willing to help us. They said it. They here. They said they were willing to help us.
Yeah, but you
Councilwoman
cannot
Key
tell
said.
them it's unfair to the other companies. If you
What
say,
other
give
companies?
me $6 million, and I'm gonna
Well,
let
it's
you
the only
keep the
one. What other
production,
company?
You
We-
cannot say.
We don't, we
Here-
don't have
here's-
any other company.
Mr. Mayor,
You
here's what I
cannot
think,
do that.
here's what I think we're missing right now.
Yes.
If we tonight say we're just dismissing this, we want it to go out for rebid,
That's what I would
we're
do.
losing
Yeah.
all leverage to have any level of negotiation or discussion with Waste Pro.
Waste Pro.
So we have to just say, we're throwing it out and we want to see other proposals. If we continue it, then you can try to negotiate something better or different with Waste Pro, but you're still only gonna hear from one company.
Exactly.
So the question is, do we want to negotiate with one company, or do we want to just throw it all out and see who else comes back to us? Keep in mind, if nobody comes back to us when these contracts run out, you and I are gonna be running up and down the street with hefty bags picking up trash.
But Councilman, here's the problem, and I like that suggestion. The problem is.
No, I don't like that.
No, not the suggestion of picking up. No, not that suggestion. I'm saying the manager had told me on the record that if we put it out, we will still get
On the
one.
record, you show on the record?
Yes. I'm saying that, no, in reference to you said it earlier. You said the way the bid was written, Mr. Manager, don't play that. I asked you, Mr. Manager,
Mr. Councilman, when did I
Yes.
say we would only get one bid? I've been listening.
Okay, then let's get it clarified. I asked you earlier, Mr. Spring, I said these people said that the reason that they did not apply is because of the term of the thing. And I said to
Of the
you.
commercial.
Of the commercial. And I said to you, if we rebid this out the way it is, would it be the same thing? You say probably yes.
I said yes because
Okay, then-
our
if we put
our
it out
con-
this
our
way.
The same
extension
way.
our extension still has the
That's what I just said.
But
So
how did it work out this way, though? I mean,
what I
I
said.
don't remember this happening.
you approved it.
When did
they
we
said we
approve this
approved
for
it. I-
2020?
let me tell you, but
It goes back to those council members, one of whom I gave a hard time earlier tonight, and their decision
No.
5 years ago. And
What-
we've just had zero options to continue to extend it, because what else are we going to do short of run up and down the street ourselves with hefty bags and pick it up? So we've continued to extend it a year at a time, but we're only putting off the ugly truth of it. I mean, we're either gonna be relying on a private company to pick up our garbage, or we're gonna do it ourselves.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We stuck. We can't put it out because if we do, we'd have to end it in 2020.
So I'm gonna ask.
Yes, sir.
I would prefer for you to continue the item as you suggested earlier. Let us go gather the commercial data, the market rate stuff, present to you the full in-house analysis that we've done, that you rip it apart, and be able to have a conversation or a dialogue in context of all of that stuff. 'Cause at the end of the day, we bring it in-house, even including the commercial, as I see the numbers right now, even including getting some subsidized costs, and even including looking at lease options, because we did that too. It's still the per residential rate is going to go up.
We understand that. We're
Okay.
not talking
No,
about
I'm not
that.
saying, and I'm not saying
Okay.
by how much, but I'm just saying the reality of it is it's gonna go up.
Okay.
And I would prefer that you not shoot the big toe I have over here. Let me get that information, and you can make a decision next month,
No, I mean,
or not make a decision next month.
but we will be in trouble though by next month if we
No,
don't.
no.
We won't?
I'll make a motion to continue the item.
No, you already have a motion.
I had withdrawn it, so
No, you-
if
oh,
the
yeah.
councilman is now making it, I'll second his
Okay.
motion to continue.
I have a motion made by Councilman Bienemay to continue tab K. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Item passes with a 3-2 vote. For the record, the nay votes were Councilman Desiree and Mayor Smith Joseph. Tab L. I don't, is it? Yeah, it is.
Go ahead.
All right, so, proposed ordinance, first reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending the future land use map to correct a Scrivener's error, specifically changing the future land use designation from mixed-use low to mixed-use high for the approximately 23-acre property known as Portofino Apartments located at 1820 Northeast 142nd Street, North Miami, Florida, with folio identification number 062221023010, providing for an adoption hearing with subsequent transmittal of the proposed map amendment to the State Land Planning Agency for a determination of completeness, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, and for an effective date. Now, this item is in fact a quasi-judicial item. If you wish to be heard on this item, please rise right now so I can swear you in. For the record, Mayor, 2 individuals have risen. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, that'll conclude. Do your thing, Mayor.
Thank you. Staff? Staff again?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. For the record, Tanya Wilson Sejour with Community Planning.
We already did this last meeting.
Development.
I think today was simply to rectify the folio number.
Yeah, well, that we did. But I have a quick question.
Yeah.
This vote gonna affect only Portofino,
Correct.
only that.
Okay. And
There's
did
no
we?
other thing in the complaint in that?
The text amendment.
Yeah, for this one.
Okay. Public hearing is now open on the item. For the 2 persons who got sworn in? No?
They probably
Okay.
don't need to come. Yeah, they
All
don't need
right.
to come.
Public hearing is now closed.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab, what's that, tab L? Tab L. Yeah. The motion was seconded by Councilman Desiree. Vice Mayor Keys, how do you vote? Councilman,
I'm
Vice
sorry.
Mayor Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Bieneme,
Me and Jessica.
Councilman Dezume,
Yes.
Mayor Joseph,
Yes.
and Councilman Galvin.
Yes.
Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Let's see here. Tab M. Proposed ordinance, first reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending volume 1 goals, objectives, and policies of the city of North Miami 2016 comprehensive plan, more specifically amending the text to the future land use element thereof in accordance with the requirements of section 163.3184, subsection 3, Florida Statutes 2017, and chapter 29, article 3, division 11, section 3-1102A, and sections 3-1105 through 3-1110 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances by amending the future land use element at policy 1.20.6 to clarify the ground floor retail requirement, providing for an initial hearing and subsequent transmittal of the proposed amendment to reviewing agencies and or any interested local government or governmental agency for review under the expedited state review process, an adoption hearing and subsequent transmittal of the proposed amendments as may be amended to respond to comments from the reviewing agencies to the State Land Planning Agency for a determination of completeness, repeal, conflicts, severability, corrections or of Scrivener's errors, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you. For the record, Tanya Wilson Sejour with Community Planning and Development. This item is a request for a text amendment to the city's comprehensive plan. As stated in the reading of the title, it affects policy number 1.20.6. Essentially, the policy requires that 75% of the ground floor in any mixed-use development be dedicated to retail. In having conversations with developers over the series of time, Several have indicated that this policy is somewhat ambiguous in the way that it's written. Doesn't differentiate that the policy is intended for major versus minor corridors. So the request before you is to clarify that language within the comprehensive plan. Typically, this type of language you would see in areas that have heavy pedestrian traffic or vehicular traffic, just to activate the ground floor of these type of mixed-use development to create some type of visual interest. So naturally, it should be on the major corridors. So if approved tonight, the clarification that staff would like to provide within the comprehensive plan is that there's an exemption for those mixed-use developments that are on minor corridors, and that this type of regulation with the 75% ground for retail be dedicated just to the major corridors. What I've done for you in the presentation real quick is that you can see where those major corridors are located. It's Northwest 119th Street, Northeast 6th Avenue, Dixie Highway, Biscayne Boulevard, and also Northeast 125th Street and 135th Street. So the language, again, would only refer to that mixed-use ground for 75% retail being required on those major corridors.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now open on the item. Item M as in Mary.
Good evening, Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. Different item.
Can we do swearing in? No, just swear him in now. Go ahead.
Let me swear you in.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So,
You have to
so
swear
whoever
everybody.
want to be heard on tab M, let me swear you in now. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
If I have to.
Okay.
Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. I just noticed that as she read out some of the streets, that 151st Street's not considered a major thoroughfare, yet it's a major road that leads out to the university. It's a proposed site for a train station. We're eliminating that one particular site. I do agree with the staff that 75% requirement is quite a bit, and that it needs to be reduced, even on the major corridors, because of some of the new building designs. A 50% requirement is reasonable, but she had mentioned that it was just for those major corridors. But if I heard you correctly, that 151st was omitted from that particular street. But I think 151st should be considered a major corridor because of the fact of the increased traffic that we know that's going to be coming there with Solomia, with FIU, with everybody's complaining about the traffic that's there, and the proposed train station has the biggest chance to be there if certain commissioners get their way. So and then what is a minor roadway for a description? We know what major is because she just described it, but what is a minor roadway? Thank you very much.
Or non-major, anything non-major is.
So if I could respond to that for the mayor and council. The comprehensive plan is very specific in objective 1.2. It defines for you what those major arterials are. The roadways that I have listed on the slide on the screen is actually based on the definition from your comp plan. It gives you the designated corridors, and 151st Street is not one of them that your comprehensive plan identifies as being a major corridor.
I know, but it's a good point though for upcoming, traffic and so forth. With Solemia coming up, with Solemia and possibility of a train station in the future, which is not. Well, you read that it's not on the comp plan, but I don't know.
We can bring it back for consideration. That piece.
That piece.
That street.
If I may, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilman Ethan Watson with Greenberg Traurig, 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue, here on behalf of the Portofino property, 1820 Northeast 142nd Street. We are in support of this legislation because what would happen otherwise is you have areas that don't have cross traffic. You don't have pedestrian traffic in between properties. So our site, for example, is 23 acres. We have the FEC rail line on one side, and we have a water feature, a canal going completely on the other side. So without this amendment, we would be forced to build dark space. We wouldn't be able to rent it out. There's no tenants, there's no pass-through traffic. This legislation will allow flexibility to design the appropriate amount of retail on a project-by-project basis where it's appropriate. Thank you.
So, no, there were, how many people got sworn in? 2?
4, Mayor.
4?
Anybody else?
Okay. All right, public hearing is now closed.
I have a comment, Mr. Mayor. And I understand the text amendment aspect for Portofino. Understand this text amendment gonna affect the project. Why don't we do it on project by project instead of doing
because of where it exists. It exists in your comp plan right now.
No, I understand that, but why not we do the text amendment just for Portofino instead of for the entire city?
You can't. It's, yeah, the way that it's currently in, this text is in the comp plan, and the comp plan affects everything.
Right, you can't amend the comp plan for a specific property.
What about the text amendment? You cannot bring it.
Not in the comp plan, no.
It's citywide.
You cannot?
All right. Make a motion.
Why do we need to do that in the comp plan?
Why do we need to do what in the comp plan?
The text amendment in the comprehensive plan.
Because right now your
instead
comp
of
plan.
when they bring the project, we just vote.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Your comp plan right now, the language in your comp plan says that anytime you have a mixed-use development, 75% has to be retail, everywhere.
Okay.
You can't change that and say, except for Portofino in your comp
No,
plan.
we're not gonna say except for Portofino. When Portofino bring his project and ask us for a text amendment in order to allow them not to do the 75%.
Right, but the only
It's not the
amendment
same
you could
thing.
make to the comp plan is to say, except for Portofino.
Yeah, you have to do it for the entire.
For the entire
you can't-
city?
You can't just pick. just
We
one.
don't have, I don't think.
Can I make a comment before we go further? This is quasi judicial. Do we need to do disclosure that we spoke to anybody? So,
He said, yeah, sure, why not?
I'm sorry. It's,
Ooh, Jesus. It's getting late.
it's getting late, so I would like to disclose that I spoke to Mr. Wasserman regarding, this matter, so, other than that,
Have I spoken to you, Mr. Westman? I don't think so.
All of us talked to
No,
him.
no.
No, I don't.
Oh, I think I thought you spoke to everybody. Okay.
No.
so, just.
We tried. We tried.
I think it's a good amendment. I think it's going to do a lot with other projects that aren't in there. Tanya, I think your answer was right on, and don't we have isn't our master corridor or master transportation plan? It's in there also with definitions of what are major corridors. So at such point as we feel, or we think it's going to happen, we've got the STOD, then at that point we should maybe include, amend that, so, okay.
Okay.
I'll move approval of the item.
Second.
Okay, that's it.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab M. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. Roll call vote. Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman DeZume, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Joseph, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Culpeper Park. You still wanna do this tonight? You wanna put?
Absolutely, no, cannot wait, Mr. Mayor. Indeed, I thought we had but we're gonna make it real quick. I really need my colleague up here to listen to the frustration of some in my district been having. And I understand it's Park Month, right? It's Park Appreciation Month. And this has nothing particular with the park director or anything in per se, but this is some complaints, and I have relayed most of them to the manager. But one of the things in particular I've been getting a lot of calls. There was an incident where they had the football team that was at Pepper, and that football team, everybody who knows the history of North Miami, and I know the Redskins, you'll have over 300 or 400 folks in the area at the park. A decision was made to move it to another location. I was not notified. Some of the folks, I guess the parents, whatever, find out. When I visited the park, it was my understanding that they were playing baseball at some of the area, which I don't have any problem with baseball. And I called the manager immediately. I said, I have an issue because those are the small little issues that really get to the big thing. And I don't want it when I come here in August and start having folks and going on the radio and having folks to come here to justify some stuff. I don't want when we start talking about items, people think that it's something that's just happening. It's been ongoing. And I'm not talking about the physical thing of the park, which is something ongoing I'm talking to the manager about, and I'm getting to the point where we need to take a trip out there, and not only that park, but other parks in the area. It looks filthy. But I don't know what you need to do, Mr. Manager, but football need to come back to Pepper.
You mean soccer or football?
They didn't even have, they have soccer at Ben Franklin, which is going great. It's like they take it and they move it somewhere else for whatever reason and just inject it. No, there was another game, and I don't know what was the reason. So I've been getting these calls, and
That's the most popular venue on Claude Pepper Park. Over 300-400 kids.
I really don't know
Football season.
why the decision was made, and there's some other programmatic program why they decide to do some things. The other day, this is another incident at the park again, and I want to ask you, Mr. Manager, do we get any revenue for advertiser to advertise on our city property?
Like banners.
Yes, we don't.
For a long time, there was a county prohibition
Yes.
against it,
Yeah.
but I think that's been lifted.
It's been lifted. Okay, do we get any thing for advertisement in our parks?
I don't believe so.
Okay, then
Anybody
that
can
banner,
put a banner?
no, they
No,
shouldn't.
it's city property.
Yeah, they should not. Let me say this, Mr. Coker, that banner needs to remove from, and I have the picture, I'll forward it to you, from that law firm, because a lawyer from my city called me. And it wasn't on the outside where somebody, just put it there. It was on the inside field of the baseball. But that's another separate incident. But Mr. Manager, the soccer needs to come back. The football needs to come back, sir. And I don't want to do this the wrong way, but please respect. You may not like me up here, which is fine. Respect the fact that the people have elected me to represent them. So if any of your staff has an issue with that, that's fine. They could deal with it. But when they decided to move something that's affecting my constituent, and I'm tired of it, it starts with the senior program. They decided to move the senior program from one area to another area on Wednesday. And that move did not have to happen. I don't know why they're disturbing seniors when we have another center where they could have housed summer camp there empty. So when you're making these decisions, I don't care how you run your shop or what you do, Mr. Manager, but starting August, y'all got to get it together, because when the people keep on calling me, and I know I've been calling you a lot, I've been texting you a lot about it, but I understand that, but it's getting to the point where they need to stop. So these programs, I don't care what they do internal, but anything that touch the garbage, public work, Parks and Rec, that touch the resident. See, if I don't know about it, I'm okay, and I think all of us okay. But once we start getting the calls, that's the problem. The seniors are asking me, why am I moving somewhere on Wednesday? They was not told a couple days before we going somewhere. Mr., you want to say something, Mr. Corker? I mean, okay, Mr. Manager, they did not know from what they told me, because you know how I know they did not know, and we had this conversation? I went there accidentally, and one of them was there. Her daughter was dropping her off, and she forgot that they were meeting at a different center. She said, they did tell us last week we would be moving. So I asked them why. They didn't know. So when I asked, they said it was because of summer camp. The issue was brought to me in regards to that particular move, and I said, I don't think we need to do that, because these are seniors. Let's consider moving summer camp, which is another issue we're not going to get into, at Joe Celestine Center. So I thought that Joe Celestine Center had teen program or something. It's empty. There's nothing there. So we could have had camp there and kept the seniors where they were, not disturbing them. Because these are folks who, when you disturb them, they're like kids. They're like, okay, this program is going here, and now it's going here. So, but we're not even talking about that tonight. We are focusing on the football. So please, Mr. Manager, we are on good terms. And that's one of the things that would really make me, that the support will lose.
Invite them to lunch and with bread.
No, we good. No, I honestly, no, I don't think we have any issues, but I'm telling you, Mr. Manager, starting in August, we got to get it together. So please, football, whatever the time, needs to be moved back there. Thank you.
All right. Oh, you were talking to me? I understand there is no reports tonight from anyone.
I have a report, Mayor. Vienna May has
Citizens forum.
Oh, you got citizen forum.
Oh, yeah, citizen forum. Yeah. Citizen forum is now open.
Hello, Marisol from 1270 Northeast 124th Street. I looked at the new LDRs that were posted again for this meeting, and I did see some things that were removed that are of huge concern to me. It was section 4-203, where all the amendments were speaking about the M1 district in my area, which is off of 12th Place and 13th.
Ask her. You can ask her.
This is open forum, no? This is, we talk about anything.
Mr. Spring has questions for you when you're done with your presentation.
Well, you know the M1, that's right next to my house, right? So in April's meeting, I saw the whole LDR listing, and it talks about all the different things and stars and amendments and what have you, and then it's posted again on this agenda of the comprehensive plan. That's like 600 pages or what have you. Oh, if I'm wrong, then that's just one of the things that I'm mentioning. I also saw in that plan that nothing has really been changed about the parking. And I looked into some old plans, and it was stating that it was, let's see here, for the ALFs, it was 1 per bedroom, and now ours is 0.5 per bedroom in the ALFs. And I know in that project, it didn't quite seem like they had bedrooms. Parking spots, accommodations for them. And also, I know that the parking is not included in the building size. I was kind of, it's not. So that's kind of scary, you know, 11-story building, and then they're like, okay, we're going to put 4 stories of parking, and boom, it goes up. I saw that in the entertainment category, that they're obligated to put 5 parkings for every 50 square feet, whereas residential isn't quite matching that. So, you know, maybe we can address that again and move around the parking, and that's section 5-1402.
All right.
For required parking. So, maybe we can go back to 1 parking for every 300 square feet.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street, Sunkist Grove. This is an open letter to Commander Angelo Brinson of the North Miami Police Department. Thank you for your excellent emergency preparedness workshop at the Sunkist Grove Neighborhood Association meeting of June the 21st, 2018. Your selection of locally recognizable sites in the electronic media presentation helped to fully engage the audience. Your sharing of a safety story regarding your own daughter communicated sincere concern and your commitment to community safety in the event of emergency. Your language was easily understood, and your readiness to answer questions as they arose further demonstrated your mastery of managing emergency events. We, the NOMI citizens, are very fortunate to have you as our emergency manager. Please know that your efforts are greatly appreciated and that we routinely pray for you and yours. Thank you.
Good evening, Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. I want to touch on our discussion we had a little while ago about the garbage contract. I know there was some focus on a possible termination of a contract. Yet for the last 6 years, you've had so many complaints about Waste Pro and the service and so forth, and not one time did anybody ever threaten you were going to terminate the contract. So when the language is in the future contract that you may do, terminating, and some of you up there said it, oh, well, we're stuck with whoever you have. You're not going to terminate a contract just because they're giving you some bad service. They're going to say, we're going to fix it, and you're going to go on. So I wouldn't put that much emphasis thinking that you have this safeguard that you can terminate it unless it's something catastrophic, if you even continue with a private hauler. What I would suggest that you do is try to align your residential with your commercial, line those two together. If you have to buy out the current in-house company and make it work, then you'll see the kind of response that you'll get from multiple companies. Or if you decide to take it back in-house and do commercial and residential, you'll get to see all these things in August, or hopefully the staff will bring it back to you. But don't put any false hope into that you have an out when you get rid of your outside vendor, that you can actually go and terminate them, because you've said it here multiple times already. We're stuck with them. It's what we've got. And so because they mess up and don't pick up Mrs. Jones' garbage a few times here and there, it's not going to cancel their multi-million-dollar contract. Thank you. Enjoy your break. Hopefully nobody calls you, no storms, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, right.
All right, citizen forum is now closed.
Okay, Mayor, real quick. Councilman Bienemay would like to make 2 appointments to 2 respective boards. He would like to appoint Sarah McDevitt to the Parks and Recreation Board, and he would like to appoint Emmanuel Gentee to 2 boards, to the Community Redevelopment Board and to the Nuisance Abatement Board. That's Councilman Bienemay's board appointments.
1 second, Mr. Clerk.
You got it.
Mr. Corker, then you asked me with one of the person asked me with you for 1 appointment to the Parks and Rec. What's his name, Henry? Yes. Can we make the appointment of Mr. what's his name, Henry Evans Henry to the Parks and Recreation Board for me after that, sir?
Yeah, you want me to get his vote first and then?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve Councilman Bienemay's board appointments?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve Councilman Bienemay's 3 board appointments. That motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Move
Now,
approval of Evans Henry to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Councilman Desiree would like to make an appointment of Evans, S-E-V-A-N-S, Henry, H-E-N-R-Y, to the Parks and Recreation Board.
Oh my
So I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve Councilman Desiree's appointment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Mayor Keys have second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Mayor, I
Clerk.
just have one quick question on my council report. Through you to staff, I asked a little bit earlier tonight about payments either being made or not being made by a former councilperson who is under an ethics agreement to be making monthly payments. Were you able to figure out if those payments
The
are coming?
finance director went through and looked up the the surname. We'll have to go and check. I'll probably have to call ethics tomorrow and figure out what the construct of the payment plan is, so we can figure out where the payments are. Because they could be coming in under Miami-Dade County ethics. I don't
Right.
know how the
It's
payment scheme is.
$87 a month. That was supposed to have been running since October of 2014 through October
I don't know, you told me I had that.
2019.
Okay.
Total, full total, $5,000.
Okay.
Coming from the councilwoman to ethics, from ethics
To us.
to us.
Okay.
So the
I'll-
$87 should be the telling dollar amount.
We didn't see it. So quickly we didn't see, but I'll call in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any other reports?
I'll just quickly, I hope everybody will come out to the bike ride on, this Saturday. We will not be having one in August. We'll be taking off. I hope everybody has a good summer vacation, even though we are on vacation, or hiatus. I believe I speak for the rest of my council. We are still available. We will still be in meetings, and we will still be meeting and taking calls. We just won't be at a council meeting. Thank you.
Move to adjourn?
All right.
Hasta la vista.